بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على المبعوث رحمة للعالمين نبينا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه ومن اهتدى بهديه واقتدى بسنته إلى يوم الدين وبعد. فقد قال جل وعلا في كتابه المجيد وفرقانه الحميد: أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم، بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الذين إن مكناهم في الأرض أقاموا الصلاة وآتوا الزكاة وأمروا بالمعروف ونهوا عن المنكر ولله عاقبة الأمور. وقال النبي صلى الله تعالى عليه وسلم: عليكم بسنتي وسنة الخلفاء الراشدين المهديين، عضوا عليها بالنواجذ، وإياكم ومحدثات الأمور فإن كل بدعة ضلالة، أو كما قال عليه الصلاة والسلام. Honorable scholars, respected brothers, elders, mothers and sisters, it is a natural phenomena and a human instinct to sympathize and empathize with the victim of any tragedy, be the victim a friend or a foe, whether he belongs to a common religion or any other denomination. As humans, Allah has created us, and it is this very element of concern that elevates us over the animal kingdom. In the wild, you won't find this element of care and concern as is found among the human race, that whenever there is a catastrophe, whenever there is a tragedy, then there is an awareness campaign, there is a collection drive, there is a mutual support structure that is put in place to assist the victims. And this is great. This is brilliant, this is meritorious, this is awesome. However, as caring as the human is, his approach is very different when the nature of the problem is self-inflicted. So this very caring human would lend his hand of assistance, will dig deep into his pockets and give out money in big numbers. But if he is told that the victim is suffering because of the result of his own doings, then this human becomes very wary, very apprehensive, very two-minded. Now let me give it thought. By way of example, you come home and the phone rings and someone tells you, did you hear this brother? He has been admitted into the clinic and he is seriously in a bad condition and he's been hospitalized. And you say, oh my word, I'm really sad to hear this, may Allah give him shifa. And then as the discussion progresses, you ask the brother, what's the reason? Why has he ended up in the hospital? He says he's got bad lung cancer. Then you say, yeah, but you know, he is this chain smoker at the same time. So, well, what can we do? If this is his habit, there's very little we can do to assist him from his problem. Or you meet someone and he says, you know what? This man's marriage has broken up and it has dissolved. And you're like shocked and surprised and disappointed. And what happened? But they were recently married. Apparently one partner has been cheating on the other partner. And they are guilty of infidelity. So then what happens? You say, maybe it's better the marriage broke. Maybe it's better the marriage broke. Why? Because he has brought about this condition upon himself. Sheikh Sadi Rahmatullah alayhi used to say, I sympathize with the victim of every tragedy but a jealous person. A jealous man has decided to harm himself. If you harbor jealousy, you must live with misery. If you harbor jealousy, you must live with misery. These are the words of Sheikh Sadi Rahmatullah alayhi. Meaning there's very little I can do. If we look around us today in the world on a micro level and a macro level, on a small scale and a large scale, by and large, the human race is inflicting himself with problems. And because of us inflicting ourselves with problems, gradually we are losing even sympathy for our crisis. So we are becoming loners in our problem. We are becoming isolated in our problems. Why? Because nobody wants to assist us. Nobody wants to extend an attentive ear to our pain and our agony. How often don't you see, and perhaps not in this part of the world, and may it never happen here, but back home it's a common occurrence, where you find a youngster has taken to drugs, and he has taken to the rough life, and he comes from a very dignified family, and he comes from a family with great social standing, and the brothers are prominent and respected and you know, really prosperous individuals. And then you meet the brother and he says, you know, I'm so sorry to see your brother on the road, and I met him at the rehab. You know what, Sheikh, we've washed our hands off and we've moved on with life. You know, we've got our own families and there's so much we can do. If you want to help him, may Allah bless you. But as the family, we've decided to move on. There's very little we can do. And that has really become the problem that has gripped the world. That has become the crisis. Now today I want to single out one situation, and I tell you how I want to focus my talk. I want to speak about just one aspect in our life that we are guilty of, because of which we have brought misery on our life. We could open it up from multiple dimensions, but to highlight one particular aspect because of which our lives, our family structure, our social structure has really taken great strain, and that is misery in our life as a result of greed and desire. As a result of greed. And I will share with you a few examples to illustrate the theory. At the onset I must say, life by its very nature is daunting and challenging. So I don't have the recipe for a hiccup-free life. If you ask me, you know what, give me the formula that I don't have any issues in my life, I don't have any problems in my life, that is against the very grain of human existence on the earth. So neither I can give it to you nor anyone else can give it to you. In English they say, what cannot be cured must be endured. What cannot be cured must be endured. Problems never end, they only differ. Problems never end, they only differ. I was once holding my two sons, in fact 3 of them, one in this hand, one in that hand, and one on my back, and I'm walking. And they were much younger than what they are now, obviously. One was 2, one was 4, and one was perhaps just a year or whatever. So one scholar met me and he said, Sheikh, mashallah, I see your hands are full. I say, yeah, it's really full. He says, rather they pain your hands than grow up and pain your heart. The burden is lighter now. You're carrying them in your hands, that's painful, it's hands full. But I promise you that burden is lighter and this problem is easier as they grow up. Then it's not hurting your hands, it's hurting your heart. It's piercing your heart. It's a sword in your heart. So the problems when my children were small were different. When they grow up will be different, and life will continue, but they will never cease to end. وَلَقَدْ خَلَقْنَا الْإِنسَانَ فِي كَبَدٍ. Indeed, we've created man in challenges. That's the nature of human existence. He's riddled and gripped by multiple challenges. So, the point that I want to speak on is how greed has brought misery in our life. And I share with you in this regard anecdotes and extracts from the life of Sayyidina Ali radiyallahu anhu karramallahu wajha. So what I want to focus here is that there are certain challenges that Allah has put in our lap, and that is by His divine decree, and every one of us has to try and deal with it and get closer to our Creator. So we cannot remove that because that is divinely decreed by Allah and that's the system of Allah. But to add salt to injury, to compound the crisis, to aggravate and exacerbate the nature of the problem, we bring in about more misery on ourselves. And we make in life more challenging. So let me share with you the first incident regarding Sayyidina Ali radiyallahu anhu. He was one day sitting outside with his son, and we are always reminded that we need to have quality time with our children in this fast moving world where everybody is gripped up and everybody is busy and everybody is occupied. We need to take our time and interact with our children and have some quality time. And we need to free that time and make it happen. So Sayyidina Ali radiallahu anhu is outside, with him is his son Sayyidina Hassan radiallahu anhu. Just then a beggar comes, and a beggar asks for something. Please, please, please give me something on the name of Allah. So Ali radiallahu anhu tells his son Hassan, go inside, idhab ila ummik wa qul laha, say to your mum that I had left 6 dirhams in the house. Hati minha dirhaman, please just give me 1 dirham. So obviously this is an amazing learning experience for the child, because the child is observing, he's watching, a beggar is coming, my dad is sending me to my mum. Obviously the subconscious mind is registering, and these things grow up, and often they have a profound impact in the later years of your life. How often don't we, I remember there was this elderly man, he was fond of me, may Allah fill his grave with noor, he was a great person, he was a wonderful man. So he always used to take me to a particular town to give a talk, that was where his parents were from. So I used to ask him for advice, because the old people, they had to hurt themselves to learn, and we can get the experience from them without having to go through that difficulty. So I said, give me some advice. He said, one day when I was young, my dad called me and he gave me some advice, and we were kids, we were listening and we were playing, and after a little while it was over and we went out to play. After a little while my dad called me back. He said, can you recall what I said? I said, oh no man, I forgot it completely. So my dad said to me, I think it entered your one ear and exited from the other ear. So we said, yeah, pretty much that's the case. My dad said, even that's not bad. A time will come, it won't even enter the first ear, never mind exit the next ear. A time will come, it won't even enter. It won't even enter the first ear, never mind exit the next ear. And really today we've seen that. So the young boy Hassan radiallahu anhu goes in the house, he tells his mother Fatima radiallahu anha that my dad has sent me to ask you for 1 dirham. Now bear in mind one thing here. When we say 6 dirhams, it wasn't like, there's a $100 note here in the kitchen, and there's 500 in the closet, and there's 300 in the wallet, and there's 1,000 in the cupboard here. Leave that, the one that's there on the microwave, yeah, just give me that one here. No, 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 no. There was only 6 dirhams in the house. That was about all in the entire house. So Fatima radiallahu anha was a woman amongst any other woman. She politely said, there's no food at home. I'm just wondering, ask my husband, ask your dad, can we leave this just to buy some food for you people, for the kids? So Hassan radiallahu anhu, an innocent child, he comes and he says, Dad, this is basically what my respected man, and remember that's Fatima radiallahu anha, this is what she had to say. Sayyidina Ali radiallahu anhu became angry. And he said, لا يصدق إيمان عبد حتى يكون ما في يد الله أوثق مما في يده. Iman demands that your reliance on Allah is greater than that which is in your pocket. Now tell your mom, I don't want 1 dirham, I need all 6. Now tell your mom, I don't want 1, I need all 6. Right? Now a principle has to be established, a lesson has to be learned, and a message has to be given out, and a precedent has to be set. Again, look at the beautiful nature of their relation. In our case, this would like blow up into an ugly altercation, and who you to tell me, and who you, and I'll call my brother, and I'll call my father, oh, and my word, okay, wait. Can we try and understand what's at the heart of this altercation? And it was a simple thing that just got ugly, just got blown out of proportion, and you know what, each person's ego with the next person's ego, and we're dealing with a major issue. This is unfortunately, how we deal with situations. Fatima radiallahu anha complied, and she gave the entire 6 dirhams. Hassan radiallahu anhu came and he gave it to his father. Sayyidina Ali radiallahu anhu took the 6 dirhams and he gave it to the beggar. The beggar took it and he went, he doesn't know anything. Beggar got his money, he's happy from 1 to 6. You know what? He's happy, things are good for him. Takes his 6 dirhams and he goes. Now listen, it's not long, a person passes by, وَمَعَهُ جَمَلٌ, he has a camel with him. Sayyidina Ali radiallahu anhu asked him, أَتَبِيعُ هَذَا الْجَمَلِ, are you selling this camel? He said, of course I'm selling it. How much are you selling it for? بِمِئَةٍ وَأَرْبَعِينَ دِرْهَمًا, 140 dirhams. So Sayyidina Ali radiallahu anhu said, can I do a deal with you? Can we strike a deal? Oh, perfect. اعقله على أن نؤخرك بثمنه. You want to tie the camel here? I don't have a dime in my pocket, As soon as I get money, I will pay you. Perfect, perfect. The narrator says, I'm amazed. Look at this man. He didn't have to fly to China to do a deal. He's sitting outside his house, and how Allah is making everything happen for him in a matter of minutes. He has had quality time with his son. He has then given charity in the path of Allah. He's impressed upon his wife the importance of being charitable. And it's not long, and Allah sends a person here. He strikes a deal. The camel is tied. The amount is finalized. The buyer leaves, the seller leaves, and he goes. And then the narrator of the hadith goes on to say, I am even more impressed that this man barely left and another person passes by. And he asked Sayyidina Ali radiallahu anhu, whose camel is this? So he said, it's my camel. Are you selling the camel? He said, of course I'm selling it. How much are you selling it for? He said, I'm selling it for 200 dirhams. He said, okay, قَدْ ابْتَعْتُهُ, I have bought it. In less than 10 minutes in present day time, this whole three things are happening. This is now barakat in time. So anyway, he says, here's the 200 dirhams. And he takes the camel. Sayyidina Ali radiallahu anhu goes and pays the man. He's still walking by and says, hey brother, here's your 140 dirhams. May Allah reward you. May Allah reward you. He takes the 60 dirhams, comes and gives it to his wife. He goes in the house and he says, here my beloved wife, here my precious wife, here's 60 dirhams for you. So she's like, what's this all about? Said, your father, my Nabi, has taught us, من جاء بالحسنة فله عشر أمثالها من جاء بالحسنة فله عشر أمثالها, that whenever you do a good act, not only will the reward be multiplied in 10, even the monetary return will be multiplied in 10. Subhanallah. Amazing. Awesome. Brilliant. Now hindsight. Let's introspect. Why don't I enjoy this type of barakah? Let's do some soul searching. So here I gave you a perfect example. Number one, I will identify our flaws, and I will show you how we have brought misery to our life. Number one, if I own 6 dirhams and that's all what I own, I will never have the courage to give that in charity. If that's all what I own, 600,000, and I'm still counting the 6. I don't own it, I'm just saying. No, you start thinking I've got a bank balance here or something. I own and we own in the millions, and we're still counting that 6 that we're giving. You know, I gave so much. That's my first setback. Number two, if a person came to me and he sold me his camel, said 140 dirhams, I said fine, perfect, tie the camel, I will pay you. Then the next person comes to me and he says, are you selling the camel? I'm putting myself in his shoes. Are you selling the camel? He said, yes. How much are you selling it for, brother? I said, 200. He said, okay, I have taken it. As soon as he happily agrees, I say, oh man, I should have said 250. Oh man, oh gosh. Oh, brother, you know, that has brought misery to my life. That's why I'm full of stress. That's why I'm full of depression. Oh man, this guy, he was like game. He was easy going. I said 200. He said it's a deal. It's a steal. I'm happy. Now I said, no, you know, my wife reminded me that somebody has a bid for 300, and actually I'm just reminded that this is of a superior nature, and you know what, it's very rare in the, this is where the human race has brought misery upon itself. This is where we're knocking our own feet. That's the first point, but it doesn't end there. This is my own humble analogy. Even if I say hypothetically, I agree that he said 200 and I said it's a deal at 200. It doesn't end there. When this man buys the camel from me for 200 and he gives me the 200 dirhams, I don't go and pay the seller 140 I take 200 dirhams and we going to Kuala Lumpur for holiday with my family. Make dua, inshallah. I promised my family a holiday. And he can sing a song. But let me tell you, he's not singing a song. His heart is making a curse. And that curse will bring misery to me in my holiday wherever I am. So my vacation will not cement my marriage, will not bring joy to my life, because I have taken his due from him, and he has a leg to stand on, and he has teeth to bite, and he has a right to fight. So I am gone. So that is why you and I don't have this barakah. This greed has paralyzed us. It has crippled us. It has destroyed us. Sayyidina Ali happy, 200, alhamdulillah. Go my brother, go pay him his 140. And here, before the sun could set, Fatima had given 6 in the morning, and before the sun could set, Allah had given her 60. Satisfied. Now I'm about to come back from China, and I don't mean I'm talking general. And all is on track, and just the day I'm about to board the flight, Ching Chong dangles a candy before me. And say, hey, Mr. Hussein, Mr. Muhammad, you know what? We've got another venture here. Okay? Now I'm busy on the one phone with my travel agent. Phoning home, tell the driver, please, he needs to take the children another 2 more days to school. Tell brother Yusuf to just hang on in the shop. Tell the wife, just sorry man, if this thing comes right, inshallah we can do Umrah in business class. And end of the year, inshallah, New York. Right? Just now I want to upset this whole apple cart. Why? Greed. So now I'm busy on this phone, I'm checking my emails, I have to do adjustments at home. Hello, how much am I going to eat? How much am I going to take? To what extent? How long will I keep on going on like this? I need to do this, I need to have this, I need to go higher, I need to go higher. Where's the limit? What's the roof? What's the cutoff point? Next incident. 2 people sit down. Look at the wisdom of Sayyidina Ali radiyallahu anhu. 2 people sit down on the side of a road. جَلَسَ رَجُلَانِ يَتَغَدَّيَانِ. They are sitting and they're eating. مَعَ أَحَدِهِمَا خَمْسَةُ أَرْغِفَةٍ. One of them has 5 loaves of bread. وَمَعَ الْآخَرِ ثَلَاثَةُ أَرْغِفَةٍ. And the other one has 3 loaves of bread. So effectively they have 8 loaves of bread. They just sit down to eat, and a person passes by. So there's obviously, ethical, morally, he greeted, so they said, wa alaikum salam, brother please join us. So he responded and he sat down. فَأَكَلُوا الْأَرْغِفَةَ الثَّمَانِيَةَ بِالسَّوِيَّةِ. So the 3 of them ate 8 loaves of bread equally, right? So two people were sitting and eating. One had 5 loaves, one had 3 loaves. A person passes by, they greet him, he answers, join us. Okay, he sits down, they eat 8 loaves, they eat it equally. That's the key word, because as I run you through the entire incident, you will have to relate with this word here to understand the whole thing objectively. After eating, he stands up and he takes out 8 dirhams. And he says, listen, they didn't ask him anything. As a kind gesture, they welcomed him, but he just felt morally obliged. And he said, خُذَاهَا عِوَضًا عَمَّا أَكَلْتُ مِنْ طَعَامِكُمَا. Listen folks, you've been very kind, you've been very, gracious. May Allah reward you. I enjoyed the meal. Here's 8 dirhams, please split it amongst the 2 of you, and thank you very much. Very kind of you. I enjoyed the meal. Fine, the man leaves. Now comes the issue. Now comes the greed. Now comes the self-infliction. Now comes the ego. Look at it. Initially they invited him. They had no hope for money, no anticipation for money. Money came in the equation. This is where the problem started. فَقَالَ صَاحِبُ الْخَمْسَ لِي خَمْسَةُ دَرَاهِمْ. The person who had 5 loaves of bread, he said, look here, the man gave us 8. 5 loaves were mine. Logic tells you 5 dirhams will be mine. You had 3 loaves of bread. Logic will tell you 3 dirhams are yours. Story over. No. I will walk you to the cleaners. I will take you through all litigation process. And then what happens? You go through the legal system. I don't know, but legal costs are exorbitant wherever you are. They asked this one lawyer, what are your legal costs? He said, it's $1,000 for 3 questions. He said, the person said, but that's really expensive. He said, yes, that's correct. What's your 3rd question? What are your legal costs? $1,000 for 3 questions. Okay, but that's expensive. Yeah. Go ahead. What's your 3rd question? Whoa. This is a sad reality. This is where the human race is heading. What are we doing to ourselves? So the other brother who had 3 loaves of bread, he said, "Takunu baynana munasafah." No. 8 dirhams, you take 4, I take 4. And I'm not going to settle for anything else. He said, brother, I had 5 loaves. Logic, please, hang on. No. Lan akhudha illa haqqi. I will not settle for 1 dirham less. Now, had he accepted this year, take it as a deal, call it a day, take your money and go home, spend time with your family. But now calling this one, phoning that one, instituting this measure, what recourse do I have, what are my rights, what attorneys can I address, and it's just like one whole, vicious circle. So finally they say, okay, let's take the matter to Sayyidina Ali radiyallahu anhu. And they come to Sayyidina Ali radiyallahu anhu. Now please, I beg for your undivided attention. This is a very critical thing and it's a very crucial thing. So you need to understand this objectively. So they come to Sayyidina Ali radiyallahu anhu and they tell Sayyidina Ali radiyallahu anhu that, listen, 2 of us had 8 loaves of bread. We sat down. We had a gentleman that came. He joined us. He ate with us. He had a share of it and equally we ate the 8 loaves of bread. Thereafter, he gave us 8 dirhams and this is where we are having this contention and this is where we are having this argument. And I feel that I am entitled to 5 dirhams because of my 5 loaves and my brother must have 3 dirhams because of his 3 loaves. But he's insisting that the 8 must be divided equally, 4 for him and 4 for me. Sayyidina Ali, now you want to know the wisdom of Sayyidina Ali radiyallahu anhu. He was an amazing person. Sayyidina Ali radiyallahu anhu looked at the whole thing, he analyzed the situation. He addressed the man who owned 3 loaves. He said, قَدْ عَرَضَ صَاحِبُكَ مَا عَرَض وَخُبْزُهُ أَكْثَرْ مِنْ خُبْزِكَ فَخُذِ الدَّرَاهِمَ الثَّلَاثَ خَيْرٌ لَكَ. Listen, brother, before I pronounce a religious verdict on the matter, before I pronounce an Islamic ruling on the matter, can I make a proposal to you, independent of the ruling? He said, please do. He said, your brother has made a very kind offer to you. He said to you that you must take 3 and he will take 5. I think that's been very accommodating on his part. That's just not been reasonable, that's been super accommodating. Number 1, his bread was more than yours. You had 3, he had 5. And he's telling you take 3. Honestly, settle this matter in present day terminology outside the court. And take your 3 dirhams and go and you'll be a happy man. And this is the verdict of Sayyidina Ali radiyallahu anhu. But again, this is what I'm saying, it's this greed. Remember my opening comments, what did I say? Life by its nature is challenging. Why do we want to intensify our challenges? Why do we want to bring more misery to ourselves? He said, no. I think you are not being impartial. You are not being neutral. I want my full right. What is entitled to me must be given to me. Okay. If that's what you want, my brother, then brace yourself for something unpleasant. لَنْ آخُذَ إِلَّا حَقِّي. So Sayyidina Ali radiyallahu anhu then tells him, and listen to this, he said, you want your right. You're fighting for your due. He said, لَيْسَ لَكَ إِلَّا دِرْهَمٌ وَاحِدٌ وَلِصَاحِبِكَ سَبْعَةُ دَرَاهِمْ. You know what, my brother? If you want to go the legal, legitimate, rule way, then I'm sorry to inform you, your brother, your colleague is entitled to 7 dirhams out of the 8, and hello, you only deserve 1. You only deserve 1. So he's like in rage and fury. But عرفني كيف ذلك. I'm trying to make my 3 into 4, you're making it into 1. He says, listen, now look at the wisdom of Sayyidina Ali radiallahu anhu. Just ponder over this. He said, أَلَيْسَ لِلثَّمَانِيَةِ الْأَرْغِفَةِ أَرْبَعَةٌ وَعِشْرُونَ ثُلُثًا. Take 3 loaves of bread. 8 loaves of bread, that's what you told me. It was divided into 3 people equally. Basic maths, if you divide 8 into 3, you won't have an equal number. Double 8 into 16 and divide it into 3, it won't be even. So make it into 24. So assume every loaf was cut up in a third. So we have in 8 loaves cut up into 3 portions. That means 24 portions. 24 pieces divide. There's not a maths lesson here, right? Please. I left school many, many years ago, right? And by the way, I never used to attend lessons when I was in school. 24 pieces of bread, quarters, divided into 3 people. أليس للثمانية الأرغفة 24 ثلثا وإذا قسم على 3 صار لكل واحد 8 أثلاث. So take 24 quarters, right? Divide it into 3 people, because that's what you told me, 8 loaves eaten by 3 people equally. That means every person had 8 quarters in his share, 8 portions in his share. Not quarters, quarter won't be an accurate expression. 8 portions in his share. He said, yeah, of course, right? Perfect. Okay. So now, وَأَرْغِفَتُكَ الثَّلَاثَةُ تُسَاوِي 9 أثلاث أَكَلْتَ مِنْهَا 8. And you, brother, you had 3 loaves of bread? Yes, of course. So divide your 3 or multiply your 3 by 3. It's going to come into 9 portions. And out of the 9, 8 you ate yourself. Take your 3 loaves of bread and multiply it by 3. 3 times 3, you're going to end up with 9. Out of that 9, you ate 8 portions yourself. بَقِيَ مِنْهَا وَاحِدٌ. Out of your 3 loaves, only 1 portion was not consumed by you. وَأَمَّا صَاحِبُكَ, and your friend here, فَأَرْغِفَتُهُ الْخَمْسَ تُسَاوِي 15 ثُلُثًا. His 5 loaves times 3 will give you 15 portions. أَكَلَ مِنْهَا 8. He ate from it 8 portions. Or أَكَلَ مِنْهَا, he ate from it 9 portions. He had his share from it. This was not put into a program, install it, and then wait, it will do the calculations, and it will give you the result, or go online. No. This is Sayyidina Ali radiallahu anhu's brain instantly running. This was the intelligence that Allah had given to Sahaba ridwanullahi ta'ala alayhim ajma'in. So this person had 5 loaves, and out of 5, multiplied by 3 becomes 15. He ate 8 from the 15. How much is left out of that 15? بقي 7. أكلها صاحب الدراهم مع ثلثك. That man who gave you 8 dirhams, he ate 7 of his and 1 of yours. And then he dropped you in 8 dirhams. So take your 1 and go, and give him 7 and go. Now he looks at Ali, he says, hey, that 3 dirhams in the beginning were really looking good. You know, when you said, I must take, brother, no, it's over now, my brother. You brought misery to yourself, you brought depression to yourself, you brought frustration to yourself. And that's why I told you nicely, Sayyidina Ali said, take your dirham and go. 3 is a very, very kind figure. It's a very generous figure. It's a very gracious figure. But what happened? Greed. It is the aspect of greed that has brought misery to us. I mean, look at the profoundness and the richness and the intelligence of Sayyidina Ali radiallahu anhu. Yet another incident. What is the incident? Sayyidina Ali radiallahu anhu comes out at night. It's cold, it's dark. He is feeling hungry, there's no food. So he goes and he sees that there is one person, non-Muslim, he's got a well and he's got some water there. He looks at Sayyidina Ali, ترتعش أطرافه. He was trembling with cold, he was trembling with hunger. Sayyidina Ali radiallahu anhu looks at him, he says to Sayyidina Ali radiallahu anhu, هل لك أن تملأ لي ماء على أن تأخذ من كل دلو تمرة? Are you prepared to work for me, some manual labor? You fill the buckets of water for me, and every bucket you fill, I will give you 1 dirham. Sayyidina Ali radiallahu anhu said, that is fine, that's perfect, no problem. So he fills 1 bucket, فَأَعْطَاهُ الْيَهُودِيُّ تَمَرَةً. He gives Sayyidina Ali radiallahu anhu a date. Sayyidina Ali radiallahu anhu fills another bucket, gives him another date. Sayyidina Umar radiallahu anhu used to say, the most mean of jobs is not so humbling as begging is. The most mean of job, the most simple of job. You don't lose your dignity by working. You don't lose your respect by working. But begging, yes, you compromise it. Islam advocates, move your hands and earn and do something. Maryam alayhi salam was giving birth to the great Prophet Isa alayhi salam. This birth was being overseen not by the top gynecologists, but this birth was being overseen by the supreme angel Jibreel alayhi salam himself. Obviously at a distance he stood in modesty. فَنَادَاهَا مِن تَحْتِهَا أَلَّا تَحْزَنِي قَدْ جَعَلَ رَبُّكِ تَحْتَكِ سَرِيًّا. That Allah has caused water to gush forth. The scholars deduce something very amazing in this entire exercise that took place. Allah said to Maryam alayhi salam, we will provide for you water and we will provide for you food. But what did Allah task Maryam to do while she was giving birth? وَهُزِّي إِلَيْكِ بِجِذْعِ النَّخْلَةِ تُسَاقِطْ عَلَيْكِ رُطَبًا جَنِيًّا. She gave birth beneath the palm tree. Allah said, shake the branch and we will cause the dates to fall. The scholars say miraculous provisions were made for her, and Allah could divinely allow the dates to fall in her lap without her moving her hand. But there was a subtle message that was communicated in this exercise, and that is, in this world Allah is the giver and He is the sustainer and He is the provider. But as humans we've been told that we need to flex our hands and move our hands and Allah will provide. And that's the system that Allah has adopted. However, throughout time, and that's a topic of its own and I don't want to digress, is that Allah proves against His system. Whatever system Allah has adopted in this world, you will find there are numerous examples that against that system Allah gives. So without the union of parents, Allah can bless with children. Without one parent, Allah can bless with a child. Without the intervention of a degree, Allah provides. Why? To teach man that this is a system that Allah has adopted, but Allah is not bound by that system. Allah is not bound by that system. Man, when he designs something, then the user and the manufacturer both are governed by the common system. The man who designs that BMW also needs the very same key that I need to start the car, as much as he's the designer of the car. He's not independent of the system. He needs to put the key in, press a button and the car will start, and he needs to do the very same manual which I need to do. But Allah is not bound by the system, but yes, there are certain measures that Allah has put in place. Anyway, Sayyidina Ali radiallahu anhu fills the bucket, gives multiple dates, حَتَّى امْتَلَأَتْ كَفُّهُ, until his palm is filled. When his palm is filled, Sayyidina Ali radiallahu anhu said, حَسْبُكَ مِنِّي الْآنِ. Okay, you know what? These dates are enough for me and my family for one day, so I'm sorry, that's it for me. So the non-Muslim says, no, but I still have a lot of water to take out and I need someone. He said, but then I don't earn for anything beyond that day. Once my day is over, I've got enough dates for the day, then I end. I don't tire myself. I don't exhaust myself. I don't bring misery to myself. Now unfortunately, our thinking is going for the unborn child. Not only preparing, I know of people who have taken out insurances on unborn children. And I literally mean this with no exaggeration. An insurance for the unborn child. This is, they say, in English they say, worrying about tomorrow will not empty tomorrow of its difficulties, but surely will empty today of its happiness. Worrying about tomorrow will not empty it of its worries, because every day will come with it. But what it will do, it will empty today of its happiness. So I'm not living in the moment, because I'm living in the future. I'm living in the future. And I read a brilliant article once on this regard here with regards to children, that a psychologist had done an assessment on a child, and he said, why is it that children can tire us all out, right? If you want to play with a child, where are you, there are you, where are you, there you, whatever you want to do with the child. You play with him a little while, and then you know what, you're tired. Oh, go play with your father now. Go play with your brother. Oh, go play with your friend. And he will tire every one of us, but he won't get tired. Or if you kick the ball to him, he kicks it back, and he laughs at every time. And it is just so exciting for him on the 10th time as it was on the first time. And for me, it's like, you know, you're boring, you're monotonous now. Okay, right, I love, go now, man. Where's your mother? Why is it that the child will tire us all out and he won't tire? Does he have more stamina? Does he have, and I was really intrigued into this article. It was an assessment of a psychologist. And he said the child's strength is not divided. When the child is playing with you at that moment, he is playing with heart, mind and soul. While the average human is regretting the past and planning the future and affording the child a quarter of his brain only and nothing more. So I'm still worried about, I don't know if that check went through, if that payment came through, if the container has landed. I'm checking here, and that is why I'm so divided. My point that I want to highlight and that I want to emphasize and I want to stress is that there are a host of things that has brought misery to our life. But I'm only singling out the aspect of greed, the want for more, the want for more. I need to have this here, I need to have. Sayyidina Umar radiallahu anhu passed by his son. He was one day eating, you know, some tasty delicacy, beautiful meat. So Sayyidina Umar radiallahu anhu said, why are you having this? He said, ashtahi. I've just had this desire that for long I haven't had some good, nice meat to eat. So I decided to eat it. So Sayyidina Umar radiallahu anhu said, أَوَ كُلَّمَا تَشْتَهِي شَيْئًا أَكَلْتَهُ. Since when have you learned this bad habit that everything you desire for you must have? Since when have you developed this bad habit that everything you desire you must have? Now that is it. Once I was with a brother, we were traveling somewhere in the world, and he was signing his check, and for like $50,000 or $500,000. And then, now look at this here. He says, Sheikh, make dua. The time comes that I can sign a check for 500 million pounds and my hands don't shake. I'm like where does it end? What's the aspiration? Now let me just give you a flip side of this whole thing. Time is against us. When you don't have greed, and you don't do this, how Allah will bring it to you, how Allah will provide it for you. There's a beautiful incident in Bukhari Sharif. Abdullah ibn Zubair radiallahu anhu, the son of Zubair ibn al-Awam, who was one of the great Sahaba in the annals of Islamic history, he said, my father Zubair called me on the eve of the battle. Right? Listen to how easy the lives of Sahaba, how they had averted stress from their lives. And how we bring in stress upon ourselves, right? Then you buy a stress ball and you get stress relief and you say, do this. All these things are just like gimmicks and money making things, and you know, create this therapy and go to this person here and make that assessment and I don't know what and what. You know, it's just been exploited and exploited. Pressing a ball. Okay. So this is supposed to now take away your attention. So anyway, Abdullah ibn Zubair radiallahu anhu says, I was standing with my father in the battle of Jamal. On the evening my father called me. What was the maturity of the children of that time? Oh my word. He said, La ura al-yawm. I think today I will pass away. The way I look at the battle, how it's going to unfold, I doubt I'm going to survive, oh my son. A father having a discussion with his son on the eve of the battle. Just at that time, in 5 minutes, he winds up his whole estate. Yeah, you got trustees, you got executive, you got attorneys, you got a whole panel of people and nothing happens. Everybody usurps it and it's gone. You know, in English they have two sayings. They say where there is a will, there is a way. And the other saying is where there is a will, there are relatives. Where there is a will, there is a way. And where there is a will, hey, that's my brother, hey, that's my uncle, hey, that's my cousin. Whoa, whoa, where did everyone pop up like popcorn? Where there is a will, there are relatives. Everybody comes on board. My father called me in the evening of the battle and he said, I think I won't make it today. وَإِنَّ مِنْ أَكْبَرِ هَمِّي لَدَيْنِي. You know, my son, my biggest worry is my debts. أَفَتَرَى دَيْنَنَا يُبْقِي مِنْ مَالِنَا شَيْئًا. You think after you settle all our debts and liabilities, will there be any money left? وَأَوْصَى بِالثُّلُثِ. And he said, listen, a third of my wealth I want to bequest. Because Islamically you can bequest a third, and 2/3 will go to the divine stipulated heirs as ordained by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Quran. That's after clearing all liabilities, obviously. وَأَوْصَى بِالثُّلُثِ وَثُلُثُ ثُلُثِهِ لِبَنِيهِ. And a third of the third, that is a ninth of the estate, must go to your children. He's addressing his son Abdullah. He said, I need you to settle the debts. And then from 1/3 I want to make a bequest, and a third of the third I want you must give to my grandchildren. So I said, okay, okay. And then my father started impressing upon me, وَلَهُ يَوْمَئِذٍ تِسْعَةُ بَنِينَ وَتِسْعُ بَنَاتٍ. When my father passed away, he left behind 18 children. 18 children. You know, there's one person, we met him, someone told me this year. So asked him, how many children your father has? How many brothers and sisters you are? He says, we are 19 brothers and sisters. So someone asked him, what work your father does? He said, this is the work he does. Sorry about that. He says, how many children? He says, 19. What work your father does? وَلَهُ يَوْمَئِذٍ تِسْعَةُ بَنِينَ وَتِسْعُ بَنَاتٍ. He had 9 sons and 9 daughters. And he had 4 wives. وَجَعَلَ يُوصِينِي بِدَيْنِهِ. And my father said, hey, please, I need you, my son, please take care. I'm going here in the battle. I won't be coming home. You won't see your father's corpse will come home. You won't see me coming home. وَجَعَلَ يُوصِينِي بِدَيْنِهِ. And he started telling me, please, please. And then he said, يَا بُنَيَّ إِنْ عَجَزْتَ عَنْ شَيْءٍ مِّنْهُ فَاسْتَعِنْ عَلَيْهِ بِمَوْلَايَ. If you have any problems, please speak to my master. Not my lawyer, not my attorney, not my executive, not my manager. Speak to my master. The hadith of Bukhari. إِنْ عَجَزْتَ عَنْ شَيْءٍ مِّنْهُ فَاسْتَعِنْ عَلَيْهِ بِمَوْلَايَ. Please, you must speak to him. قال فوالله ما دريت ما أراد حتى قلت يا أبتي ومن مولاك. The way he repeated himself, I said, Dad, I just don't want to mince my words here. Are we on a common page? When you say master, you obviously referring to? He said, Allah. I said, oh, okay, right. Okay, right. I just have my ducks in a row. Okay. I got it, in order. Anyway, the battle unfolded. It was intense, and tragically my father passed away. We arranged for the rituals of the burial, buried my father, went through the mourning process, and I then started doing the calculations. Look at the maturity of a boy at that time, whose father could put upon his shoulders such a giant amount, and in 5 minutes have the confidence that my son will take care of everything. He says, فَحَسَبْتُ مَا كَانَ عَلَيْهِ فَوَجَدْتُهُ أَلْفَيْ أَلْفٍ وَمِئَتَيْ أَلْفٍ. When I did the calculations, we were looking at 2,200,000 dirhams with the liabilities of my father. Today's son, he will bring the liability on his father. Dad, somebody will come, just pay him. I'll tell you afterwards what happened. Yes. I know of parents who've lost their homes because of the drugs of their children. I know it personally. I know of parents who had empires, became zakat receiving cases because of the gambling habits of their children. I personally know, I'm not talking, not a thumbsuck. So anyway, I did the calculations, was 2,200,000 dirhams. فَوَاللَّهِ مَا وَقَعْتُ فِي كُرْبَةٍ مِّن دَيْنِهِ إِلَّا قُلْتُ يَا مَوْلَى الزُّبَيْرِ اِقْضِ عَنْهُ دَيْنَهُ. Every time I had a difficulty, I said, oh, the Lord of Zubair, take care of the debts of Zubair. And Allah would make divine intervention and the matter would be resolved. لَمْ يَدَعْ دِينَارًا وَلَا دِرْهَمًا. My father didn't leave behind any cash as such. No dinar, no dirhaman. However, he left behind properties. And these properties had never come to him as a result of commerce and trade, but as a result of his allotted share in the spoils of the war in which he campaigned. So what did he leave behind? 11 دارا بالمدينة دارين بالبصرة دارا بكوفة. 11 houses in Basra, 11 houses in Medina, 2 houses in Basra, 1 house in Kufa. And all this it came as a result of the spoils that came to him. But listen to this thing here. Listen to this amazing thing. وَإِنَّمَا كَانَ دَيْنُهُ الَّذِي كَانَ عَلَيْهِ. How did he incur his liabilities? Oh man, you talk of Islamic banking, you talk of Islamic ethos. For me, this is the lifeline of Islamic banking. Honestly, when I read this hadith, this for me sums it up. What is Islamic banking? He said, my father had incurred these liabilities. People would come to him and say, I need to leave 1,000 or 100,000 dirhams with you, please, as a trust. So my father would say, no, don't leave it to me. Don't leave it in my custody as a trust. Because if you leave it in my custody as a trust and this money gets stolen, then I am not liable, you will lose your money. So let's change the nature of the agreement. I will take your 100,000 as a loan, so your money is secured at all costs. Imagine this here. He is taking the risk factor upon himself to secure the money of the person who's giving him an amanat. وَقَدْ كَانَ هَذَا التَّصَرُّفْ مِنْ عَظِيمِ وَرْعِهِ وَحِرْصِهِ عَلَى أَمْوَالِ الْمُسْلِمِينَ. The scholars write, this was the profoundness and the richness of his care for the wealth of others. So see the wealth Allah gave him. So no, you keep it here as a debt. I will take it as a responsibility. I've taken it as a loan. And then he would give it out in charity, and whenever the person came, he would pay him back his money. Anyway, Abdullah ibn Zubair said, I did my calculations. I said, I need to start paying the money. Just then Hakim ibn Hizam radiallahu anhu came to me. What was the moral fiber of that community? He said, your father has passed away, right? He said, of course. Tell me, your dad, what's your dad's liabilities? Can we come on board? Can we put a helping hand to the party here? So I said to myself, why should I tell this man about the debts of my father when my father told me I must tell his Allah alone? My father told me properly, listen my son, you talk and you complain to my Allah, you don't talk to anyone else. But I respected the gesture of this man. I respected the gesture of this man. Today it's the reverse. I was at a funeral and I prayed there at the grave, for the deceased, and I said, may Allah forgive him and elevate him. As soon as I completed the prayer, one person came very abruptly and he nudged me. And he said, mashallah, you're asking Allah to give him paradise, but he owes me money. I'm like, who? He said, the dead man. Okay, brother, can we just be sensitive to the moment? Their family here. Can I take 2 steps back? No, I need my money. Okay, all right. Okay. I called his son. I said, please take care. You asked me to lead the funeral prayer. I don't know the man's dealings. These are serious issues. Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam, whenever a body was brought, what was his first question? Hal taraka min daynin? Has the dead left behind any debt? They said yes. Hal taraka min wafa'in? Has he left behind wealth to offset the debt? No. Sallu ala sahibikum. Please somebody else come and lead this funeral. I don't want to lead it. The man who was an embodiment of compassion declined to lead the funeral prayer of a man who died with debts and liabilities. And yes, there was that particular incident, and again it is Sayyidina Ali who is the focus of my talk, and I'll wrap up shortly inshallah. Sayyidina Ali radiallahu anhu, one body was brought, and Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam asked, is there any debts? And he said yes. And then the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, has he left behind wealth to offset it? He said no. Then Sayyidina Ali radiallahu anhu came from the rear, and he said, oh Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, don't deny this man your prayer. Whoever the creditors are, whatever claims they have from this dead man, tell them to come and claim it from me. I will offset all his debts. And then Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said to Sayyidina Ali, فَكَّ اللَّهُ رِهَانَكَ مِنَ النَّارِ كَمَا فَكَكْتَ رِهَانَ أَخِيكَ الْمُسْلِمِ. Oh Ali, may Allah liberate your neck from hell as you've just saved this dead man from hell now by averting his debts and clearing his liabilities. Long story short, Hakim ibn Hizam asked me, how much does your father have in terms of debts? So I downplayed the figure. If we know somebody wants to help us, we'll blow it up even more. Tell me I've got some zakat money. I heard there's someone. Yeah. In fact, there's a whole big family also. Yeah. And I just got news. Now there are 2 other families here. So, whatever you have, brother, may Allah bless you. We'll go bigger and louder and we'll get, public with it. He said, I downplayed. My father's debts were 2 million. I said it was 200,000. How much your father owes? 200,000. ما أرى أموالكم تسع هذه. I don't think you have the financial muscle to support this liability. I said, no, I appreciate your kind gesture, but inshallah, we will be in touch. Hakim ibn Hizam said, I don't want to be nosy in your matters. The only reason why I'm asking is, if you need, please call upon me, and it's a gift from me, I don't want anything. When you look at that whole makeup of Sahaba, their community, it was just something else. He said, I appreciate it, my brother, Jazakallah, may Allah bless you. If there is a need, I'll call on you. Anyway, his father had left behind a very valuable property called Ghaba, which he had purchased for 170,000 dirhams. So Abdullah bin Zubair radiyallahu anhu told people, Man kana lahu ala Zubairi shay'un falyuwafina bil Ghaba. Anybody who has a claim against my father, please meet me at Ghaba. This was a location between Medina and Khaybar, and it was actually two gardens, Hadiqatain. Come there, we will either give you a plot or we can talk and we can resolve it. So Abdullah ibn Ja'far radiallahu anhu came to him. I said in the beginning, we've brought misery with greed in our life. When the hearts are clean, the hands are open, the mind is free, and there isn't greed, look at how Allah will give you. Abdullah ibn Ja'far comes to Abdullah ibn Zubair. He said, you know, sympathies on the loss of your dad. Here are my documents, and that your father, your late father, owed me 400,000 dirhams. 400,000 dirhams. But honestly, I haven't come to claim it. I have come to inform you that I have forgiven your father and I don't want a cent. Hello? 400,000 dirhams. 400,000 dirhams. I don't need the money. I really don't need the money. So please, you know what? I just want to inform you so you can close that book and it's done and you put it behind you. So Abdullah ibn Zubair said, no. My father has left behind enough. My father has left behind enough. So please, I will pay you your money. So then Abdullah ibn Ja'far said, okay, in shi'tum tu'akhiruna fima in akhartum. Okay, when you start paying me, pay me last. When you start paying all your other creditors, then make me the last person to settle. I'm under no pressure. We've brought misery because of that, and they brought peace to their life. They brought tranquility. Nowadays, you know what? Every month looking at your phone, just waiting, did the transfer come through? Every little way, this thing is not beeping here. Is the network down? Get the network quickly. I need to be in an area where there's service. I'm waiting for a transfer. I'm waiting for a transfer. I'm waiting for a transfer. I've seen people sitting with their families on outing, and the man is on the phone 24/7. I'm like, what a life is this? What a life is this? Pay me the last person. He said, no, wait here. I've got this prime property here. You want to take a portion of land? He said, perfect. He demarcated an area equivalent to the value of 400,000, and he gave it on behalf of his dad, and he settled the debt. Thereafter he came to Muawiyah radiallahu anhu. The time is short, and just to wrap up, Muawiyah radiallahu anhu asked him, okay, so tell me, what's left? He said, there are like so many acres left, and each portion is going for 150,000 dirhams. So Sayyidina Muawiyah said, I will take one portion. There was another Sahabi by the name of Amr ibn Uthman. He said, I will take. There was a third person by the name of Ibn Zam'a. He said, I will take. Qad akhadtu sahman. I have taken one portion. All done. He said, perfect, it's fine. Then Hazrat Muawiyah radiallahu anhu said, go call Abdullah ibn Ja'far and come. I believe he's bought the major portion of this land in lieu of a debt. He said, yes, that's correct. He barely done the deal. He came with the intention to excuse the entire amount. I don't need it. Abdullah ibn Zubair insisted that I need to pay you your money. He paid him his money. Then the plot that was adjacent to it, Muawiyah radiallahu anhu bought it. And he asked Abdullah ibn Zubair, this plot goes to who? He said, I just gave it to Abdullah ibn Ja'far because my father owed him money. He said, call him and come him, tell him I want to make a deal with him. He came back, and that which was given to him in lieu of 400,000, within minutes was bought from Muawiyah radiallahu anhu, bought by Muawiyah radiallahu anhu for 600,000 dirhams. But did he come with the intention of 600,000? No, he came with the intention of forgiving everything, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave him all this extra. And then all the brothers of Sayyidina Abdullah ibn Zubair came to him, his 18 siblings, and they said, اقسم بيننا ميراثنا. We want our share. He said, لا أقسم بينكم حتى أنادي بالموسم 4 سنين. I will not distribute till I don't announce 4 years in succession at the time of Hajj that I'm sure that I have cleared every liability from my father. Today I am satisfied that my father doesn't owe a dime, then I will give each one of you his share. And after 4 years he had absolute satisfaction that there were no claims against his father. Then he winded up the estate. And for your information, what was the estate that he left behind? What was his kind gesture? What was his noble conduct? And what was his estate when he left behind? فَكَانَ جَمِيعُ مَالِهِ 50,000,000 أَلْفٍ. He left behind an estate valued at 52 million dirhams. 52 million dirhams, and he never worked, he never earned, and this is the barakah and the blessings that Allah gave him. We ask the Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to remove the misery and the agony in our lives. May Allah grant us satisfaction. May Allah grant us contentment. اللهم طيب لنا كسبنا وقنعنا بما رزقتنا وصل اللهم وسلم على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين والحمد لله.